खो होगा। It's been quite a journey of the ultimate Kho Kho League. It has reached the final, but it was conceptualized in 2018 and was launched in 2019. We have with us the CEO of the Ultimate Kho Kho League, Tenzing Niyogi. So Tenzing, it has been quite a roller coaster ride with COVID-19 coming in between, and then from there on to take it to the inaugural season and successfully staging the event. How would you go through the journey if you were to go back?
Experiential, to say the least. I think since 2018, we of course met up then, and it was a small little idea which actually got developed over the years into a big dream, and now into a reality where we are on the final day of Ultimate Kho Kho Season 1. This is the finale. Absolutely stoked and very, very happy with the response that we've got till now. Largely, when we started off in 2018, when I first saw the sport, I was always very clear that this sport had all the merits and the ingredients to become a success story if captured beautifully on air. The fast-paced nature, the thrill, the high-octane energy, indoor sport, Mati ka khel, ab mat pe, multiple success factors which have worked for a lot of other non-cricketing sports in India. So that was the idea when we sort of got into the journey along with my investor Amit Burman, promoter Dabur, and then of course silsila chalta raha, karwa badhta raha, and in that of course we've had a great support with KKFI. We've had great support with the team owners. I was always very clear as to bring in the big boys on the table, and I think we successfully managed. Absolutely happy to have the first 6 new entities as team owners. Sony has been an amazing broadcaster and supporter and a partner. They've given us impetus to move on and move ahead basically. And last but not the least, the players. I think unki jo journey hai, it's what dreams are made of. End of the day, mat to mat, I think the way they've sort of expressed themselves here is just simply fabulous.
Yeah, like I was talking to a lot of players here, and the way it has changed their lives, especially coming from so many humble backgrounds. Like I spoke to a guy called Manoj Ghotekar. His father was a truck driver. Somebody is an Amazon delivery boy. Somebody is a Swiggy delivery boy. Like amazing stories coming around. Like, did you ever thought of it beforehand, and how this entire coming together of everything?
That was always the part, right? That was always part of the story, because see, we always knew that these people came from all these players came from very humble backgrounds, and that's actually a very big plus to building a successful sports league, because if you see their attitude towards the sport, their attitude towards the way they approach the game, their skill sets, the way they listen to their coaches, it all sort of comes together. And for them, I think it was very important to get a professional setup which is led by governance, led by transparency, led by excellence. And I think that's what Ultimate Kho Kho strives for, right? If you look at the bottom of the pyramid for any sport, if it's nice and tight and packed, right, at the bottom of the pyramid, which is full of talent pool, both genders playing, then all that sport needs is essentially a top league there at the apex of the pyramid, and that's what the agenda was. And I think all the players have understood that. I'm so glad all the sort of the literal mud to mat or the soil to spotlight jo angle hai hamara, I think it's come out beautifully with Ultimate Kho Kho, with reference and with regards to the players.
When you started off, you already had a pro kabaddi league doing well to have like an inspiration for you. But you made a lot of changes to make it television friendly, from introducing the Wazir to the format to making it more tighter, the point system. Everything was actually tuned so that it becomes a great show on television with lights and also those dives. So how did you vision everything of this? That is a brilliant story to actually speak to.
That's an amazing story. Actually, as I said, when I saw the sport for the first time in Maharashtra, in a place called Ichilkaranji, I had no doubt, as I said, because it had all the spectacles. As you rightly said, it had skydive, it had pole dive, it had the adrenaline rush. It was very fast paced. So the day we saw it, I immediately knew that this will be the fastest sport that India would have ever seen. On ground, definitely. Can we translate into on air? And that is where the format changes started coming in. And that is where we started believing that, okay, if we can create a 1 hour product, which comes on prime time per match, so there are double headers every day, then you essentially start driving audiences towards appointment viewing. And in that, keeping that as the base benchmark, then we started trickling down and tweaking a little bit of format changes. Largely, if you come to see, we've introduced the Wazir, as you rightly said, and that's been a humongous and tremendous success story for all the Wazirs who are playing right now, and even for the audiences who now understand that, okay, this guy can get out and go either right or left, whichever way he wants to. That has changed the complete dynamics from a scoring perspective, from a match play perspective, from a strategic perspective. So I think that was a big sort of a home run for all of us. And secondly, when we introduced a power play, तो उसपे क्या होता है, फिर कोचेस का इन्वॉल्वमेंट बहुत जरूरी हो जाता है. And I always wanted to come back with a sport in India where coaches had a say. You see, very few sports have football being one of them. They call managers, but they're genuinely driving the sport. But largely, again, even if you see football is largely the managers are behind the scenes. They do the strategy, but at such a big field, it is slightly difficult when you can't hear point A to point B. But in a small court like this, the coach's strategy, looking at the opposition attacking and defense strategy, his chance or his decision to put in a power play becomes very crucial. And I think that has come about very nicely. And we've captured that on television. So there is a separate coaches cam, which you see on television, which actually is just focused on them, apart from the 18 cameras that we have.
Apart from that, Tenzing, you have also floated the idea of having a women's league in Kho Kho.
No, this is we've had a tremendous response coming in from the opposite sex. I think women, they have embraced the sport. Largely, if you come to think of it, women have sampled Kho Kho more than men, and that's a reality in India. So when we envisioned Ultimate Kho Kho, we were always very clear and very sure of the fact that women will see this. But the kind of response that we've got is absolutely amazing. Right from metros to sub-metros and even tier 3 markets, the responses have been fabulous from a women's perspective. The other part also is that because of the long-term rights that we have with KKFI, we've got the rights to the men's league, the women's league and the grassroots league. So going forward, we will try and see what can be made out of the women's league. But as of now, the focus currently is on the men's for season 2. Now that we are on the finale day, we will be looking at multiple other elements to be added in season 2 as well. From a tech enablement standpoint, to the data analytics, to the players coming in, adding in a few more teams and so on and so forth. So it's definitely going to be a grander story going forward.
You also talked about that there will be more international teams coming in from the next season. Like as of now, obviously COVID and pandemic and travel restrictions were making it difficult. But from next season, how do you envision the league to grow into more of an international event?
See, from a participation standpoint, we had already sort of envisioned overseas players participating, but of course due to COVID, a lot of things didn't fall into place. Going forward, there is an Asian Championship happening, there's a World Championship happening, upwards of 30 countries are going to play. So that's going to be a big hunting ground for a professional league like Ultimate Kho Kho to see who are the best players, because we don't want a flurry of overseas players coming in. This is माटी का खेल, भारतीयता पे जीवित है ये, और ये भारत का एक गौरव प्रतीक है. But at the same time, I believe from a television perspective, abroad and overseas players they play a very, very critical role from a television standpoint. So we will be looking at a pool of maybe 5 to 10 players coming in. And so the whole of SAARC nation plays. Korea plays it, Iran plays it, the whole of, there are countries in Europe which play, and it's also transcended into the Africa nations. So imagine that's a beautiful mix going forward when you see other people playing Apna Khel, right? So that's definitely part of the plan right now.
Next season, you will be having 8 teams proposed for the thing. So, in that case, how much of a corporate standpoint, like how much of interest has grown with the live telecast of Kho Kho that you can talk about?
It's amazing. It's amazing. We've got a lot of queries going forward. The first day when we came out with the Adani and GMR press release, I'd already gotten calls from 4 entities who've been on the pipeline as we speak, and I can tell you they're big. They're the big boys in the market. There are some state governments also who've approached us. So it's going to be interesting. We'll wait and see how this sort of folds out. But it's going to be very interesting to see how many teams and which are the teams, which are the entities we would like to sort of bring to the ultimate Kho Kho bandwagon. And from a venue standpoint, of course, we will be looking at expanding the venues going forward. So we'll be looking at a 2-venue affair, season 2, and then we'll take a decision as to whether we go caravan style or not.
From player draft to player auction, obviously this year you had to make teams have a draft thing. Next year, I think you would be also taking it to the auctions and getting more and more talent to actually take up the game to the next level, I guess.
There was a logical and a commercial reason of keeping the drafts alive rather than auctions, because what it does is it keeps the financial model more healthier for the franchisee standpoint. Even a 1-venue affair is basis that decision. So for us at Ultimate Kho Kho, it is very important a healthy franchisee is equal to a healthy league, and we live by that motto. So going straight up for an auction, I don't think that's going to be a feasible opportunity or a suggestion or a solution going for the franchisees. We will be looking at a newer business model with drafts. So could be a part of the money, part of the pool could be dedicated towards draft, and there could be a part which could be dedicated to auction, which is a sort of a hybrid model of draft and auction.
That was Tenzing Niyogi talking to us about the successful Ultimate Kho Kho League. The first season has got tremendous response as he spoke, and the next season is going to come up with the Women's League and also going a bit further with the teams and having a bigger and better and a caravan style season.